Top American comedian Dave Chappelle revealed the moment that led to his conversion to Islam, as well as his experience at the Holy Zamzam well in Saudi Arabia. During an interview this week, Chappelle, 47, was asked about being a Muslim by prominent talk show host David Letterman in his new Netflix show My Next Guest Needs No Introduction.
You're a Muslim?
I am.
When did you become Muslim?
When I was 17.
What were the circumstances?
I don't know, it was like believing in God and stuff. I'm not like, you know what I mean? I should preface this by saying it's not like I'm good at it. When I was 17, I was living in Washington, and there was a pizza shop across from my house. And it was like all these Muslim dudes that worked in there. And I used to go in there and crack jokes. And I was a naturally curious guy, and I would ask him questions about his religion.
Arguably one of the most talented stand-up comedians in the U.S., is also an actor and producer who most recently starred in the movie A Star is Born. Chappelle said that the way Islam is presented in the public space in the United States is such a narrow and dismissive view of a religious belief.
And the guy was so passionate about it, it was very compelling. I like the perspective of it, and I think these things inform my decision that I wanted to have a meaningful life, a spiritual life.
I'm reading about you being Muslim, and they reference something that I was fascinated by, the well of Zamzam.
There's a well called Zamzam, it's in Saudi Arabia.
And the myth goes that a family walking through this desert dying of thirst, and this endless well presents itself. You and I could go see it.
Right, so I could go see it. You'd probably have to make some phone calls.
Have you been there?
I have. The man is the prophet Abraham and his wife. The word Zamzam, that you guys speak Arabic, literally means stop, stop, because when it was commanded that this well would appear, the water gushed forth so much that the wife screams, stop, stop, because it was so overwhelming. And they say that it's an inexhaustible well. Mm-hmm. The thing that comforts me about it is the idea that all of this is from a singular source, that this source is ultimately kind, and even though we may not understand the intentions of this source, they were all connected and bounded by it. You know, like Islam, as it's been presented in the public space, is such a narrow and dismissive view of a religious belief. It's a beautiful religion, like a beautiful religion.
It's a beautiful religion, and the ideas in that religion are reflected in all the major Abrahamic faiths. You'll see these ideas in Christianity and Judaism. He said,
the current president says, you know what, we're going to look into keeping Muslims out of this country. Well, how does that make you feel when that happens?
You don't expect necessarily that much empathy or compassion or cultural astuteness from a guy like that. What you're sad about is that the chair doesn't have more humanity in it. But has that chair ever been that humane? When Biden called Trump the first racist president ever, well, clearly that's not true. So how do I feel when I hear a white person say some stupid shit?
Hip-hop artist Ice Cube, born O'Shea Jackson, rose to prominence in the gangster rap group NWA in the 1990s before he went solo in music and Hollywood films. He converted to Islam after going solo and was largely thought to have joined the Nation of Islam, although he denies it.
Well, were you baptized? You go that far?
Yeah, I got baptized when I was about 12, 13, got baptized. Got out of school, I started learning a lot about a lot of different religions. And what's cool about them all is they're all basically saying the same thing. I don't know why we're fighting so much over religion when they're all basically saying the same thing.
On the big interview with Dan Rather, during their wide-ranging conversation, Dan asked Cube about religion and, as a practicing Muslim, what he thought about the political sentiment and the travel ban affecting people primarily from Muslim countries.
I'm interested to know, was there any one thing that convinced you to change to becoming a Muslim?
You know, what we had learned, growing up, it didn't fit on me like Islam did. Islam to me feels like a tailor-made suit for me in my life.
So it felt right to you?
It feels right. And And I felt, it's not about, well, this is what my mother was, so this is what I'm gonna be. It's about finding your own journey. And, here I am now. Who knows where it's gonna lead me?
He approaches religion in a personal way, claiming that he is not a member of any sect or faction, and that his spirituality is solely between him and God.
With the headlines of today, with a ban on people primarily from Muslim countries, you must have a special perspective on that, or do you?
Yeah, I think it's terrible. This thing isn't about religion to me. It's simple. It's really about individual hate. Individual hate, and it's a shame because most people don't want to hurt nobody.
The God of Adam, the God of Abraham, and the God of Moses, God of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, and the God of Muhammad, peace be upon him, we're talking about essentially the only God that's worthy to be worshipped. No other God.
Well, from bad boys to Muslims, a growing number of rap artists are leaving the bad boy hip-hop lifestyle for a more spiritual one. The Canadian Dawah Association says an increasing number of rappers this year embraced Islam or acknowledged they previously embraced Islam. Among the names, Busta Rhymes, Loon, Napoleon, Castro and Raekwon. Well, Amir Junaid Muhaddith, better known by his stage name Loon, is one artist hoping to change the lyrics and message of rap following his own religious conversion. You kind of look a little bit different to me today than how we've been seeing you in those pop videos. Is Loon still in there somewhere?
Nah, Loon is working his way out of my system, Just happy to be, accepting Islam and finding the peace of mind that I was always searching for in the music business. And it was very difficult to find this place in my life now, but thanks to Islam, I've been able to, complete my search, and now I'm very much at peace.
So I take it you're no longer a bad boy?
No, bad boy days are over. Now I'm what you call a good boy.
What is it particularly about the nature of Islam that you feel contacted you?
Well, I certainly wouldn't have been able to accept Islam if it was like full of superstitions and things which couldn't relate to the real world. This was me and God. Then the Quran came to me, and later, of course, I find that verse in the Quran. It says, "Oh, when the storm comes and they're at sea, they make their religion pure for God." So all these steps and signs, I was reading, and were bringing me closer and closer. What could I do, Russell? What could I do? I had to submit. That's it.
Yeah, I really identify with what you're saying about recognizing that instead of looking for some peculiar dualistic proof of God, the lightning flash or the voice from on high, see in all things that I recognize those moments of terrified communion with God. And I identify too with what you're saying about feeling that God is all, that it seems like you've always had this yearning, this longing to be at one with God. I recognize that as well.
If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click the bell icon and subscribe to our channel. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel. Bye.